How's it going, everyone? My truck is due for annual state inspection. I went to 2 different places and the inspector creating troubles for me to pass the inspection. Even though I don't drive this truck that often anymore, they're just really being picky about it. With my front license plate not hanging on the bumper, with my tent covering the third brake light, tail light is smoked. But I had no problem passing last 2 years, even at the same location, but it's just different person, I guess. Well, today we're gonna try to figure out the third brake light. So I want to solve this problem, even though I'm driving fine on the road. I haven't got pulled over for any of those reasons yet. But in case of an emergency in an accident, they might blame me for my smoked taillight. Be like, hey, your taillight smoked, I can't see it. To prevent that from happening, I'm gonna add a light bar onto the rear of my truck so there's actual lights. And if I get in an accident, they can't blame me. I got 2 other lights up there, and then also function as a third brake light because the position I will install is not below my tailgate. So what I got is one of these OPT7 tailgate light bars. I'll post the link down below in the comment area. I had a 6" version from them before I installed my rear bumper. I took it up because my rear bumper installing process, it was blocking most of it, so I was like, there's no need for that down there anymore. But it was on my truck for more than a year. It held up super fine. It worked all the time, so I had no problem dealing with it. So I decided to go back to this company, OPT7, and then I feel that their build quality is definitely different than the other Amazon brand, like $30, $40 brand. And I like the fact that they have yellow turn signals, and it's also on a sort of sequence. They have 3 different colors for braking, turning, and as well as reversing. So I like the fact they have all these options are not just red or maybe with a reverse white. So that's the reason I continued with this brand, and today we are trying to mount this onto the rear of my truck. I unpackaged the thing already. I had one back there before I installed this rear bumper, which is blocking the view if I still have it down there. And I purchased a shorter version, which appears to be 48 inches. And my plan is to fit this right here. And perfectly fits. I just need to figure out how to mount that on there, and then it can act as my little mall crawler chase lights. So mall crawler chase light, that's funny. So there's wiring brackets. Luckily I kept this part of the wiring down there connecting to my towing stuff, so I won't be able to need to do a lot of wiring. All I need to do is figure out how to mount it. They have adhesives, 3M tapes on the back, and they also have another mounting bracket option, which is these brackets right here. You can mount these brackets first and then just use a bracket. Since I have 4 big bolts on the rack, I don't think I'm able to just tape that on there, because there's gonna be a really obvious space underneath here, and this light bar is not bendable. You can't bend this. If you try to bend this, the little plastic covers on the top of the thing tends to break. So don't bend this if you get one. And since they have 4 brackets, and I have 2 holes of 2 bigger holes on each side of my rack, so I might try to mount this brackets onto this positions right here. But this screws is not gonna work, so I have to dig around in the garage, see if I can find something to mount those brackets first. So after going through my inventories, I can't seem to find a bolt that will fit between here and that will also allow this light bar to be mounted onto the bracket, because the space between is super narrow, and my bolt is not gonna do that, and the bolt came with it's not gonna hold that on there, and plus I don't want to drill through my bedrock. So my laziest option is to just use the adhesive, because they do have something that's they have a promoter, like a primer kind of thing, that keeps this kind of adhesive stays on the material super well. So my plan is to use that, but only the middle part that attaches to here are gonna work, because these two bolts are super big, and my plan is to have zip ties. I know I have a ton of zip tie on this truck. You can find zip ties everywhere, so I don't mind adding a couple more on there. So zip ties here and here to hold it in place, and then the center part, keep it from shifting left and right. Alright, so my habit of installing these kind of light bars, the first step is always to find where the middle point is, and sweet often you can determine that by there's two little dots on each black lane. That's where the middle point of the slide bar starts, and it doesn't have those middle point on either side except in the middle. So that's where it starts, and we just need to mark the middle point of that down, and then mark the bed rack. And you can just simply plug into your trailer harness for temporary, just to get it light up first, and then you find the middle point, and then you do your wiring later after you install the light bar first. This is the wiring part. This connector came out of the light bar, and then this wire is supposed to tap into the reverse light. Since I have everything just right down there, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this right here and then make this couple feet longer. Maybe only needs a feet or two, so I keep all this wires clean by having all the wires going to this hole right there, and then this goes down all the way into this tail light housing, and I have the pre-installed wire ready, so I just go up and that goes down. Went through garage, found some wire protectors, some wires, and some connectors, and let's get to start. This is probably 18-16 gauges, somewhere around that, and this size is perfect fit. I will go dig a little longer in the box, see if I can find something this size. If not, I'll just use this one. It's a bigger, but it's not smaller, so it should be okay. And we're just gonna cut it, extend it a little bit, or even I don't need to extend it anymore. I just need to cut it so I can fit that in that hole, and then extend that back there. So we have taken out the tail light and then fished through the white wire, which is a reverse wire, all the way down there. And I got a little hanger piece to help me fish through this piece, because it's a little thick, hard to maneuver in there. And I found out I don't need to add extensions on there, because the wiring harness I had on there is already way enough. It just, this big connector is in the way, so we just need to cut it, which we already did, and connect it back in there. That will be the plan. Honestly, regard this style of the tail lights, I love how they look, but if I ever get a chance or go back to the time when I purchased these, I'll purchase them with clean cover, but with black tint inside, not the smoked cover, not the tinted cover, because it's giving me some headache right now. We're not getting rid of it, but for the people who are watching this and if you're planning to get some upgrades for the taillights, go with a clear cover one. The smoke one, they do look cool, they do look nice, but it will bring you trouble, and it might cause accident because of visibility. So I have the work all finished, organized the cables, and then at the end I didn't have to add the extra wire. The white wire reverse light I tapped into the trailer harness. Right now I'm in the process of putting my tail light back, and the light bar is tested working. As I was about to putting some electrical tape to cover the wires up, and I ran into a new problem, which is nighttime running lights. When you turn the headlights on, the running lights is supposed to come on the trailer harness, but the running light on the light bar doesn't seems to turning on when I turn the headlights on. I unplugged it and I plugged in directly into the trailer harness. It's working. Something in the wires when I spliced them together for the extra trailer harness, that somewhere there probably I did a terrible job, because the problem of that is because I was using this type of connectors, those quick snap connectors that came in the kit, and I think the reason of those things are bad because I think they don't make really solid connections between the wires. That's being installed like around a year or two ago, being held on pretty good, but I just found that out because I was trying to pull the wires a little bit in different direction. When I put in one direction, all the lights start working, so I know it's gotta be that connection. So I'm gonna go back down the truck, take those connectors out, and then re-splice in and then solder in everything in a more solid connection form, and hopefully that figures the problem out. Probably have to take everything out and reconnect everything. So when I pull this wires in this way, the whole lights shuts off. And then if I pull this like this, and the connection went back, so it gotta be this connector right there. After taking this ugly clips out, here is a finished product. This is the trailer harness. I reorganized the wiring and re-taped it around with electrical tape, and the extension goes out from here. All I need to do is just put this back in and then zip tie around a little bit, and then it will work great. Now this whole project is finished. I put a new light bar on the bed rack and then fixed up the wiring down the trailer harness a little bit. By doing this, I hope I can increase my visibility on the road and also get me past the inspection. What I could done better this time, which I'm really regretting of doing that, as soon as I put that light bar on there, is a space between the light bar and then the bed rack itself. Because of the big bolts on the bed rack, and then the light bar wasn't able to fully attach on there, and I was having trouble with holding it up there. So I ended up using 3 zip ties on each side to hold that light bar in place. But however, if I would done this again, I would cut out some plastic or PVC trims, apply it onto the bed rack first, and then attach the light bar onto the PVCs. So that way it can be fully attached onto the bed rack by the 3M tapes. But however, I think by doing this already, I think it's gonna hold on to it for at least a year or two before it gets too dirty, and then before the dirts build up on there and then the 3M loses sticking. That was an easy install for me. It could done better, but eventually I will have to fix it, but it doesn't bother me for right now. So let me jump in the truck right now and then show you the basic function of it. I believe there's so many videos of how you're doing it, but I mounted on my bed rack, so it's gonna be a little different. Oh well, this is end of the video. If you do like it, please give me a thumb up, and consider about subscribing for my future content. Thanks again for watching. I see you guys next time.